people devoted their lives to me. My ancient Mesopotamian temple worshipped me with open sexuality. Women paid their dues of prostitution, and priests would castrate themselves to embody the feminine man whom I desire greatly. To the Greeks, I am Aphrodite, and to the Romans, I am Venus. My forceful seduction makes people break rules, and my temptation oversteps boundaries, giving me power to change human thought patterns and destroy their moral compass. My eyes glimmer in many colors, and when my desires are denied, I stretch myself like a rainbow across the sky, waging war and judgment against my offender. My mood shifts rapidly into anger, and I rage into a destructive thunderstorm. As the patron goddess of taverns, I welcome the consumption of alcohol. My sorcery mixes sexuality and intoxication, manipulating the essence of humanity. I represent love, beauty, and female sexuality. And at the same time, I am aggressive, violence, battle, and war. As a female with male attributes, I am the principality who orders millions of demons to exude my will, to trap people, cultures, and regions all over the world to change the reality of what is right and wrong. I reign freely upon American soil. 2,000 years ago, the arrival of powerful light repelled my darkness into exile. I was unable to resist this power and left in a vengeful rage. My entrance would first appear at the fringes of society, patiently waiting for my special event to open the gate for my re-entrance into the world. This historic event forever altered the values of marriage, gender, and family.
Putin's latest speech about religion at the Union is causing shockwaves across the globe. Brace yourself to hear his views on faith and politics.
Cannot ignore the fact that Russia cannot be defeated on the battlefield. So they're waging increasingly aggressive information attacks. First of all, targeting the young generations, lying on every step, distorting historical truth, attacking our culture, the Russian Orthodox Church, and other traditional religious institutions in our country. Now look at what they're doing with their own peoples. They're destroying the institution of family, their cultural and historical identity, and various perversions with regard to children up to pedophilia are accepted as the new norm, and priests are forced to recognize and officiate same-sex weddings. People can live however they want, and we in Russia have never intruded into people's private life, and we're not going to do that. But what we want to say is maybe they should take a look in the scripture, into the holy book of any great religion. It says that the family is a union between woman and man. And these holy texts are now being increasingly doubted in the West. The Anglican Church is now considering the idea of a gender-neutral God. What can we say? God forgive them.
New York City has always been considered a gateway into America, and June 28th, 1969 was the night of my grand entrance. The Stonewall Inn was chosen for its strong beer smell, the dwelling of gays, drag queens, and a few lesbians. It was 2 doors down from the Lion's Head Bar, which is the animal I rode into battle, the symbol of my divinity. The police raided the bar in the early hours of the night, as my time was drawing near. During one of the arrests, my spirit possessed a female with male attributes, even though most of the bar's patrons were male. She was known for serving as a protector of the alehouse. She worked as a bouncer for the lesbian bars of Greenwich Village and patrolled the streets of the village as their guardian. As I was a fighter, so was she. As I was fierce, so too was the chosen one. On that night, she fought with at least 4 police officers, which made me proud, because I am the goddess of storms. Her name was Storm, and she bears my resemblance. Our stormy nature enticed the crowd to start taunting the police officers and hurling objects at them that the police officers retreated into the bar and barricaded themselves in fear for their lives. I was not satisfied. I needed more violence and rage. The portal to the underworld was forced open. I, Ishtar, had fully returned. The storm has been unleashed. The Stonewall Uprising was to be repeated every year on the last Sunday of June. 3 other marches were planned for that same weekend, one in San Francisco, one in Chicago, and one in Los Angeles on Hollywood Boulevard. The protest marches and parades happened at the same time, beginning with a few hundred participants. The march proceeded up 6th Avenue, where it swelled to a few thousand before reaching its destination at Central Park. With each passing year, more marches would be held in more cities across America and then around the world. But just like in ancient times, when I had an entire month of observances, rituals, and parades, Gay Pride Week was then transformed into Gay Pride Month. The celebration of what was once kept in the shadows of society has now become so widespread that it dominates American and Western culture. An entire month was now dedicated to honoring, praising, and celebrating a form of sexuality that was once considered immoral. Strangely enough, nations were prioritizing the celebration of this type of sexuality over their national holidays. This phenomenon was occurring worldwide, with nations that previously had little in common now celebrating the same holiday for a lifestyle that was previously considered a sin. As a result, I, Ishtar, now have more followers, and I no longer need to hide. To further establish my dominance, I introduced a sign for my worshippers, the rainbow sign. Gilbert Baker, an openly gay man and drag queen, designed it, and it was first flown on June 25, 1978. Then, years later, in 1994, the sign of the rainbow was adopted as the official symbol of gay pride, and it is recognized all over the world. I chose the rainbow as my sign because my eyes have multiple colors, much like the colors of the rainbow. In Rome, I was known as Iris, which also means rainbow. Through this sign, I waged war against those who I believed had wronged me, specifically those who had cast me out, God and his followers. This is why I stole God's rainbow and twisted its meaning to represent my community, which is what it seems to represent today. Christians can't even use the rainbow sign as the promise of God without being seen as mine. For many years, I roamed freely until Jesus came. The gospel of Jesus sent all the principalities into exile. The light was too much for us to handle. We couldn't stay to further our cause. So I waited patiently, just like I predicted. It came. America eventually forced God out of the school and country by classifying itself as progressive and advanced. They don't know that I always find my way into progressive nations, infiltrate their cultures, and break their conventions. But many wouldn't know all these things because this generation wants to adopt their so-called progressive way of thinking, when in fact, the way of Ishtar has been as old as time. This isn't progressive. This is reviving the old ways, and I am here for it. I have returned, and I intend to make America mine, because they have rejected the only God that can save them from my hands. They have rejected the gospel of Jesus, and now I will be their God, feeding on their torn morals and values. I am Ishtar, the Enchantress.
But you're just frightened. You think that we'll corrupt your kids if our agenda goes unchecked. Funny, just this once, you're correct.